Yo, yo, what's happening? What's happening? Lap of Luxury, crafted by John. What's good? Barbara Ruiz, Lamont Stokes. I'm Colin Clark. Say Dreams. Can't break age. Teak, what up, Teak? All right, John, we talking about it. We getting it popping. Do you prioritize your spouse into your everyday? And then you got age versus experience there. What you mean by that?
Age versus experience. What you feel like is more sufficient? Like when it comes to knowing stuff, some people feel like because they older than somebody, they know more than somebody. So is it an age thing or is it an experience thing?
Oh, all
So
right.
age versus experience.
So we got so it's two different topics basically.
Hmm.
Okay. All right. I started us off last time. We just gonna give it a second. Let's get up, and then your rundown, started and everything. But before we do that, anybody that's new to the page or whatever the case may be, or new to the live, pretty much, if you want to tap in and join the live at any time, you can tap in. We're gonna keep just like a little time frame because sometimes we get into a heated debate, and some people want to stay on a little long, or some people been kind of patient and they waiting to get to kind of tap in and get involved in a conversation, and they might have to wait. So now we just got like a little rotation thing going on. So just understand that once you get on, you can say what you guys say. We have a little time frame. You can get back on as much as you want, but just what I mean, just know we're gonna tap out and let somebody else tap in once we get in a conversation. Um, don't hesitate to share the live. You know what I mean? Hit that airplane, and if you want to comment, you could definitely comment on in the comment section. That's where it all go down anyway. So that's that. Um, and we gonna get it popping. So should we start us off?
So anyone that's new to the live, I'm Cherie. That's Jamal. We've been married for 13 years. And we had a rocky 12 years. And then the pandemic happened, and then we had rekindled and restarted and reconnected our marriage and our relationship. And then we had started this live just talking about everyday life and our experiences and, different tips on how to improve and reconnect in your relationship. So, without further ado, the first topic is do you prioritize your spouse into your everyday, and also with age versus experience. So, Jamal, what's your um, feedback with the topic for as like how you feel about the question with do you prioritize your spouse into your everyday? First, that's the first question.
All right. So for the first question, do I prioritize my spouse every day? Um, yeah. First of all, I feel like we did this question before,
We
but it
didn't,
was just
but
like
go
it
ahead.
was worded differently. You know what I mean?
We
But
did.
we did. It was worded differently, but it's ultimately the same thing. It was like basically, do you consider your mate or your spouse? You know what I mean when you make a decision. So it's
That's
similar. But
not the
anyway, it's
same.
cool. It's
It's
cool.
not the same, but go
Um,
ahead.
it is, but we
We want
good.
it to be the
No
same
problem.
so bad.
We'll answer it again. I mean,
It's not the same,
but no,
but go
just on the
ahead.
daily basis, I would say, do I prioritize um, my spouse or whatever the case may be? So I do like I think like once you start to connect like with your mate, you just kind of you bond, you know what I mean, and once you bond, even indirectly, I think you know what I mean, you think about your spouse or your mate, and then like based on there's a couple ways like in scheduling or whatever the case may be, like certain things that y'all might have planned or might be planning, or even like their work schedule based on certain things you might want to do with family and stuff like that. So you pretty much have to like you constantly have to like consider your mate. You know what I'm saying? So when you have time in like that, 13 years plus, and you living together, and you have children together and things like that, it's hard. It's really hard not to. Um, and there are times um, that you have your own time. You know what I'm saying? That you'll prioritize. You might prioritize yourself. You know what I mean? Um, it might just be like your own me time or reflective time and things like that. But outside of that, on a daily basis, to answer the question, I do prioritize my spouse and definitely, prioritize spouse. All right, so what you want asking for the next one?
Yeah, age versus experience. What do you feel like is more like sufficient when it comes to life? Like, is it based off like age or is it based off of experience? Like, do you feel like a person with age is more like, I guess, like their word or their knowledge means more than a person with experience?
Um, the only thing, I mean, for me, the main thing that makes age valuable is the experience of it. But if you are older and you don't have experience in a certain area, then your age doesn't mean anything. You know what I mean? So I don't know if it's it could be anything. It could be like what I mean, mechanical work. You could be older, but if you don't have any experience with mechanical work, I'm not gonna take your advice. Or, hey, you know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna choose you over somebody that I know has more experience, even though they may be younger. On top of that, so my answer to that is experience means more than age. Um, on top of that, nowadays, like with um, information so readily available, and then having to understand new technology, the youth is really in position to be smarter than the elderly. So, like for the first time in history, we're actually learning from our kids. So, if you go back further, you had to teach your son how to hunt, or you taught your daughter how to, you know, wash clothes or cook food, things like that, and everything we taught them. We taught them everything. You know what I'm saying? But now, you know, your child will grab your phone. You know what I mean? And they'll put it on a certain, setting, and have you John saving a battery, or have you know what I'm saying, being able to look up different things, and they're teaching us now. So based on the information that we have and needing to know how to utilize the technology, it's really all about experience. It's not as much about age as it used to be. So that's my answer.
Hmm.
All right. So what's your take on prioritizing? So the question is, do you
So do I
prioritize your spouse?
prioritize my spouse in my everyday? Of course I do. I prioritize him every day in my sleep, when I'm not asleep, when I'm doing whatever, when I'm thinking, when I'm everything. Yes, I do. And far as
Shit, boy,
age versus
6:02.
experience,
Damn. Why ain't say nothing?
it depends on, I would say it depends on the situation. Um, because like you said, with certain things nowadays, you got people who are younger than us are more wiser when it comes to the situation in hand, or you have some people who just have experience because they just done it so many times over time. They just are really great at what they do. So I think it just depends on the circumstances or what it is in life, because you may be able to get better knowledge for somebody who's younger, and that's okay. So I would just say for me, it's like it depends, because it can be an age thing and then it can be an experience thing. So it just all depends on what it is for me.
So give me an example if it's on the age side of things. Like, what would make you choose age over experience?
So like with age, I say because like for someone who have done something and they're young and they just constantly keep doing, that's like teaching somebody how to draw or color or like just some type of technique, if the younger person keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it, just like you said with social media, these young kids can do social media with their eyes closed. They can play games with their eyes closed. To where with us, if like a video game or something like that, your child can teach you how to play it just based off of them just constantly keep doing something, because sometimes you just have the knowledge, based off of you just constantly doing something, and of course the experience as well. So it just really all depends on what it is in particular. Like it just depends on what the situation is. Of course, somebody with experience, as far as um like like if you had a job and they just have the 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years of experience, but you probably turn around and do something they do just a little bit better. So sometimes it just all depends on the situation, because what somebody else teach you, you could have like learn how to do it much better than them, to where now they learn it from you. Like you done surpass them, or where they have taught you how to do something, because you done looked at it totally different. You done had dissected. You done like looked at it like, oh well, you know what? I'll figure out how to do it this way, this shortcut. You be like, well, damn, I ain't never even knew that, and I've been here for 8, 9, 10, 12 years. People at jobs, that always happens because somebody comes in and just look at a situation and just dissect it and make it better or improve it or show a shortcut or something, how to do it a little easier than what it was when they learned how to do it. So it can go both ways. It depends on what it is, though.
Yeah, I was trying to think of ways of situations where age would matter over experience. I guess I would need, even in the comments, if there's anybody that has an example of where age would be more beneficial than experience. Because like I said, the whole thing about age is that you have experience. So that's what I'm thinking is like the benefit with age is the experience. So if you don't have that in a certain area, then the age, what I mean, I can't see that it would matter in something. So
Yeah, I
yeah, I
mean, like
think
I said, it just all depends. Like with us, like you have people who are younger than us or older than us that may not understand or know how to do certain things. So they'll come to us that's a little bit younger than us, or maybe even older. You have older people that'll come to you, be like, well, how did you get to where you at in your relationship? I don't know. How did this happen? But it's like, of course, they're going to come to you for one, because of the experience. And then sometimes you just may be younger than them. They never have really experienced it. But at the same time, it's like they have somewhat of an idea, even though they're older than you, but they may have not necessarily have experienced it yet. So they may get advice from someone who is younger than them. So it's like it just all depends on the situation. That's why I said it depends. Because it can be an age thing, and then sometimes it could just be an experience thing, like based off your experience.
yeah, I still can't think of a situation where age would outrank experience. I really can't. But so what was the so was that
Hey,
a question?
hey.
Was that a question too for? Um, are we talking about for like um, a particular occupation type thing also,
What?
or was that wasn't necessarily just that wasn't just for relationship that talk about age versus experience, correct? That was just more so a general question.
Yeah, hey.
Yo, what's up, bro? What's good with you? Can you hear me?
Yeah, would you? No, that was. I mean, they didn't say. They just put it in there. So it was like age. So because of what we talk about, I'm assuming it's from a relationship standpoint.
Okay.
So of course, it's the age versus experience. Like, okay, so like okay, so you 41. Yeah,
Hmm.
I'm 40. So it's
Yeah.
like, do you feel as though because you're older than me, you have more experience than me because you're 41? Or do you feel like, far as like in relationship wise, or do you feel like because you older than me, you have? more knowledge or whatever. Like,
Us
of
too.
course, it's both. It's age and experience, but you may feel like, okay, even though I'm older than you, you have more experience than me when it comes to a relationship. Like, far as like, what happens in relationships. Some people
Yeah.
don't have those type of experiences. Some people don't know what it's like
This one, right?
to a certain level when it comes to
Got it.
relationships because they never experienced it before. Even though you're older than me. He tried to join. Must didn't work. I don't know what happened.
All right, yeah. So, um, and with that too, I would love to hear like the story that's connected to that, because sometimes people will ask questions because it might be something that's fresh on their mind, or it might be something like, uh, um, so because you know what I mean. Some people might ask a question because it's based on a particular scenario that they involved in, or something like that. So when you ask the question for a topic, it'd be good to have them like attach, just a reason why they asking the question, because it might be like, yo, I'm in a situation where I'm dating an older guy, and he just thinks his way is always the right way because he's older than me. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Like, just so we get some
I'm
back
sure that's
history,
probably what it was.
because you know what I mean, as opposed to just putting it
I'm
out there.
sure that's what it
Oh,
was
okay.
because they not going. You can only put but so much when you putting in what you want to say. So
Okay.
I'm sure that's probably exactly what it was. There was somebody who's a little bit older than them, and they feel as though that the person that they're with feel as though that they are, because they're older than them, they know everything.
Sometimes you
And
gotta listen to your elders.
no, you don't, because the elders don't be knowing what they talking about. But anywho, so sometimes it's not always about your experience, and sometimes it do be your age thing, and sometimes it do be based off experience. It just all depends on the situation, I feel like. But hey,
Tsunami, what's good with you, bro? It's always a
Nothing
pleasure,
major,
you know what I
brother.
mean, getting
It's
some of your
good to be.
insight and perspective. Um, Talk to us, man. How you feel about the topic, or what you got on your mind in general?
Okay.
Okay.
Well, let's touch on the topic. The uh, the age versus experience thing. Let's do that. The age versus experience thing is, in my personal opinion, there's no compromise when it comes to experience. Like, you wouldn't get in a plane with somebody, or like fly in a plane with somebody who never flew a plane before. I don't care how old you are. It's based upon the experience and this person actually being through what you've gone through, or whatever it is. Like, so, just to touch on that, it's more so for me experience, because you don't ever want to be in a situation where, as though you're asking somebody for advice and they've never actually been through it. Like, I mean, what's the
Mm-hmm.
point? You kind of like talking to yourself, more or less. Um, when it comes down to prioritizing your spouse, I'll say this: prioritizing your spouse to men and women, I believe, are two different
Okay.
things. Um, Prioritizing your spouse, when it comes down to an overall view, is like actually praying for your spouse, like making sure that she's secure in everything that is is the accumulation of you and the family, and so on and so forth. But for women, I kind of feel like prioritizing means more or
Mm-hmm.
less attention. And I
mhm.
might be wrong. That's why we have a woman here to at her perspective, but nevertheless, attention is not always prioritizing. Prioritizing is maintaining that state of prayer, and just kind of just making sure that she understands that, listen, everything that I do is for us, and not always like my physical appearance, or me always physically being there, more or less. But the topics are definitely dope. I'll say this: if you, what I'm saying, if you're involved in a deep relationship and you feel like this person is not prioritizing you, then that is
Mhm.
a huge issue because then you have to like start to like redefine what you perceive as um, whatever it is that you deem to be attention or affection or prioritizing or whatever. But I mean, you know, um, more or less, that's all I really had to say.
You too.
Hey man,
It's good to
you hit
see
on
y'all. So
some real heavy points there, and so one of the things you said was the, how we look at priority or prioritizing our mates could be different. So I've heard of relationships where it might have been a woman that's like, yo, this guy is always working. You know what I mean? I can't really get his attention or whatever the case may be because he's constantly going to work. When he comes back, he's tired, this, that, and the third. And a good versus would be, you know, like uh, like in terms of priority, is like, all right, is it attention or like needs? Like what is more important? Because that man that's working really hard that may not have that attention time as much as you would like it. He's working hard because he's prioritizing the needs of his household, and he may have to work a double. He may have to work, more hours because he wants better for his family. Either he has to maintain what he got to maintain, or he wants more for his family. So his time that he's working, he really is, in his mind at least, prioritizing for his family. And so I think that can be an area of conflict in a household because it could appear to your mate, if attention is something that they, look at as a priority, it could appear to your mate that you're not prioritizing them. It could appear that you leaving them, high and dry. Okay.
now that's a double edged sword. That's a double edged sword. Um, I know that as a man, your duty is to provide. So you feel the need to, work those hours and do this, that, and the third, and so on and so forth. But you have to understand that your household is way more
Mhm.
priority than your prosperity. Um, and the moment you recognize that, it turns into something different. Um, I have always lived by the mantra, like, work, smarter, not harder. And that might sound real basic to most people, but for the most part, it turns into um, I need to have time. I've always said that what's the point in you having 2,000 channels if you never get a chance to watch them? What's the point in you having $5,000 condo and you can't sleep?
Mm-hmm.
There's no real point in it. So you have to learn to prioritize what's really important to you. And your household, your family, that is above no other. Outside of God, there is nothing else. So if you feel like your work starts to become more of a
Mhm.
priority, then you misplacing your priority. Because you know what, as much as you work and as much as you strive to provide, your wife will find comfort in the arms of somebody else due to the
Mhm.
fact that you never around. And
Mm-hmm.
No, but
I don't
that's
mean
the
to go
truth.
that far
That's
left.
on
I'm
both
just
sides
saying
though,
that.
because we do.
Mm-hmm.
That's on both parties.
You're
Yeah.
right, right, absolutely. And you need to make sure that your wife is secure in more than just financial ways, and that's important. That's why I like kind of base what I said upon initially, like upon prayer and this, that, and the third, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, because it's the structure for the household that makes everything great. And your blessings don't stem from what you have; it stems from what God
Mm.
already gave you. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that,
No,
that
we
might sound a
respect
little
it.
backwards, but nevertheless, you know, more so like when God, well, I mean, I'm going from the Bible, but nonetheless, he said when a man found a wife, he found a good thing. So you have to always keep in mind that when you have these things, that a lot of people don't. And so you don't want to start putting that good thing aside for things that are
But let me ask you
mediocre.
a question.
Oh, you got a good job. God didn't say if you had a good job, you had a good thing.
But
Like,
you know,
what I'm saying? Like, oh, God
it's
said you had a
crazy
lot of money,
because
you had a good
out
thing,
of
brother. You
all of the
didn't have a good
different, descriptive words that the Bible could give, having a wife, it just says good. Like, what the hell is good? You know what I mean?
thing.
Like, it says when a man
Wow.
finds a wife, he finds a
That's
good thing. Like, what the? That's to
dang.
me.
Absolutely.
That's what I mean. What does that mean? It doesn't say a great thing. They say great in the
I'll put
Bible
it to you like
hundreds of
this. That's
times.
the
They say
oh,
magnificent in the Bible. And when it came to having a wife, it said good. Like, that's mediocre to me. Good is
no, but I'm gonna say this. Now, you can say good and you can downplay it and you can say, okay, well,
yeah.
no, well, he just said good. Um, what was when you look at the scriptures? What was
It's
Eve
red.
to Adam? Just out of curiosity. No, no, but what was he? I mean, what was she?
She
What
was
was Eve to
his
Adam? What?
to help him,
Why did God give Eve to Adam?
to assist him.
No, not at all. He was a black. No,
Okay.
listen. She was companionship. She was companionship. He gave something that was never given before to any other creature. He said, "Listen, I'm gonna give this man companionship due to his faithful worship or faithfulness to me. I'm gonna give this man something. I'm gonna give this man a companion, someone to be with." So when you say like, and this is where we gotta like really draw the line because I can't speak for
Hmm.
God. This is just not it. But when you hear the word good and it comes from the words of God, that's like hearing the word child. It's like if a child tells you something, oh, daddy, this is fantastic, this is great.
Hmm.
You take that as, oh, wow, this must be it for her. So when we look at the word good and we say, okay, wow, he just said good. What's good to God? Like, you know what I
No,
mean?
no,
Like,
I get it,
you know what I mean?
but he say some
What's
other like more elaborate things. Like
Hey,
when
listen,
you
certain
control
things may be
when you
great, but
control
what makes good bad
what
when
makes
it
good
comes to
bad,
yeah,
great.
what makes good but no, no, great doesn't make good bad when it comes from the word of somebody that's considered the creator of the Almighty.
Yeah,
That's not it.
it's just
No,
it's just
you
something that
can't.
I like. You know what I mean? I just thought about it one day. I'm not, like you said, I can't none of us speak for, you know, can none of us speak for God. You know what I mean? But I was just interested as to why they made having a wife so plain when I've heard so many scriptures that are so elaborate, that are so detailed, that are so, you know what I mean, like
What's
compelling.
deeper? What's
You know what I
deeper
mean?
than a vow? I gotta ask you a question.
Mm,
What's deeper than a vow between you and your wife? What will be a deeper commitment? A vow to who?
I don't know. To
To
God, you know what I
God?
mean? Yeah.
To God?
Yeah, that would probably be like the
So
next
how could
biggest
you
thing.
ever look at the second deepest commitment that you've ever made in your entire life to something mediocre? That's to me. I don't know. I can't even fathom that because I heard one time a dude say he said a lot of people don't know this, but deeper than your commitment to the decision you make to commit to God is the decision that you make to spend the rest of your life with this particular individual. I guess meaning your wife or whomever. So I could never deprioritize because of the wording and say, okay, well, he said good, so that's just not it. if God tell you something good, that's like, wow. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
Could you
if God,
imagine God telling you that you did good? Could you imagine God telling you, listen, Ma, you did good.
listen, let me ask you a question.
This man made
Let,
everything.
let me ask you a question. If God said you did good, and then He came to me and said I did great, how would you feel then about His good?
I will feel like I did good.
You would feel like you could do better. That's what you
No,
would feel like.
I will feel like I did
You would feel
good.
like you could do better.
Well, that's just me
A B
personally.
is
I'm
good.
not in
A is
competition.
great. I just don't know
We
why. I
we
can't
not gonna
speak for
do we
anybody.
not gonna do Cain and Abel, whose offering was better. I'm gonna say this. If God told me I did good and my offering was up to His standards, that's a major bar to reach. Um, I'm sorry. That's more or less like, all right, you work out, you crazy with fitness, whatever, you working out, you doing this and that third, and I hit the bar. And me personally, I don't work out. So here it is, I hit the bar and I'm doing what you're doing, and you say, damn, you did good. That's an achievement.
Okay.
So somebody telling you you did great, what does that really mean to somebody who's never done anything? So I don't know. I guess it's what it means to whomever it
Yeah.
was spoken to.
Yeah.
Nevertheless,
I just don't. I just thought about that.
I'm a downshift and go back to what we were initially talking about. Um, the fact of the matter is this: nothing is more important than family. I don't care what it is that you have going on. If God bless you with a wife and with children, with a household, and with security, maintain that, because all the money in the world, all the success, all the the time spent at the office will never equate to the time that you missed. I am twice divorced. Y'all already
No,
know.
for sure.
And yeah, right. So
That's understandable.
even though I truly understand why my last relationship didn't work and why I'm moving forward and progressing and maturing and definitely growing, it is definitely something that I pull back on. I will definitely like go back on past thoughts and the last decade and things that are going on or whatever. And I often draw on things that I could have done differently.
Mm,
And even though I honestly feel like I did nothing wrong, I cannot take away from the fact that maybe I could have done more. That
mm,
says a lot. So
mm,
I'm gonna say this: um, don't ever lose or compromise yourself or your situation for something that's gonna come and go.
mm,
Careers, all of us. When it's all said and done, it's not gonna mean much. It's not gonna mean much. Then who was Maul?
mm,
Maul was that boy. He did this, that, and third. He did cuts. He built businesses everywhere. He did this, that, and third. But his wife and his children left him. So
mm,
Maul is as accomplished as you might seem you are, you gonna feel like you losing because you lost the thing that mattered. There's an Aesop's fable where a king was told that he had 24 hours to live in spite of all the stuff that he gained. And his last words were, my kingdom for one more day. You don't ever want to live life with regrets.
mm.
So for me, it's an easy choice. When it comes down to prioritizing, prioritize your home, prioritize your right. Do the
So
things that are right.
let me ask you a question. Do you feel that, although, like you said, you feel just in terms of reflecting back, what I mean, and sure, you could tap in on any of this whenever, what I mean, you feel. I just was throwing some
Oh
ideas out,
man, she looked frustrated.
what I mean. But my question to you is, you said like never let it go, or what I mean, if you have a wife or whatever like that, and what I mean, keep your family type thing. And I know you said that you even have looked in terms of reflection to say what could I have done more, what I mean, of to keep us together. Is there any part of you that feels that um that the breakup was a blessing in any type of way, whether what I mean, just
The breakup was a blessing in a lot of ways. It's
okay.
just me and being in an emotional state that has me like kind of like, joining that nostalgia state and saying, "Oh well, this could have," but when it comes down to the overview, and I had to honestly like look at things as a whole, I have to say that it was more so a blessing than a curse. But that's not to say that my situation is everybody's. I kind of look at like a lot of people think that relationships nowadays are a hindrance, and they're not. When you find somebody good, like it's not a shameful thing to latch on and to love this person and to be with this person and to do what you need to do. There's nothing wrong with that. Like this whole new age way of thinking, where like, oh, I like this person, but it's not this, or I can do better, or this, that, and the third. Like that's cool, but no, like if you have somebody who honestly loves you the way you love them, then that's a blessing within itself. So that's how I feel. So and the more or less, like in my particular situation, I would say, okay, well, fine. Mine was better. I have a better relationship with my kids, so on and so forth. So,
Hmm.
I would say mine is better, but that's not for everybody. That's
Got you. Sheree, you got somebody that was trying to tap in. Um, yeah, so yeah, I appreciate one thing I can say, you know what I mean, and I appreciate this. I like this for everybody that's on here is
Yeah,
like
pass you
when
around. You don't
when
got
you
no picture
showing
of yourself.
when regardless to your experiences, you know what I mean. I like the fact that you continue to choose love. You continue to choose family. You know what I mean, regardless to how things. Yep, how things may have went, and in previous relationships or whatever the case may be. And I think that's really something that just in our community we need to really have more of. Like just being able to have relationships with each other, choosing love over, you know, separation or distance. You know what I mean, and just like building. You know what I'm saying, like building with somebody and nurturing and crafting a family. So I definitely appreciate that. You know what I mean, from you always. You know what I mean. You always come from that perspective too. You know what I mean. So that's always love. All right, my guy, we got somebody that just hopped up also, and we want to
Okay.
hear your perspective on the topics and what you got to, how you feel in general.
Um,
So talk to us.
no, definitely. I had a bad experience in my last relationship, honestly. Out of respect, my name is Caso. I've changed my name numerous times, but my name is Caso. I am an artist. I got the name through people who were calling me different art names, and so then whatnot. But I do draw portraits. I'm pretty decent at it. A lot of people, I'd rather people just give me the compliment than me to say it myself. But
Okay.
as far as this topic goes, and when people say, "Do you prioritize?" My last relationship really it affected me in a lot of ways, and what I had to do was heal myself from it because it I lost myself in that relationship trying to buy the person's love. It was almost like I was trying every manner, even if it meant losing who the fuck I was as a person, just to make the person happy. And even in that sense, I lost myself. Spoke to my parents about this shit. I became in that situation a yes man for so many years, losing my friends and family, losing everybody, turning my back on all of them, just to try to make this person happy. And what I realized over those years is that you can't make anybody do anything that they do not want to do themselves. And if they're not happy genuinely by themselves, you just gotta let them go. No matter how hard you try, if they're not there, they're just not there. And you have to just accept it. I had to sit back and have a still moment inside myself. And I had to sit back and have a still moment in myself and realize, yo, you need to wake up and leave out. It was when the cops were called, and I'm a very, very calm individual. I'm not violent whatsoever. But because I was trying to get the rest of my clothes, 911 came and all this other extra shit. And from that point on, I knew that, okay, this whole thing is dead. There's no point me trying because then if I lose my freedom and my peace just to try to make somebody happy, knowing that they're telling me in my face that they will call the cops I'm a black man, which means either I could get shot or jail time. They really don't give a fuck anymore.
Say I'm pretty.
Yeah, no. So it's interesting because uh, just relating your situation to the topic,
Yes,
uh,
sir.
saying do you prioritize your spouse in your everyday? So you're saying ultimately you had a partner and you prioritize it to the point where you
I
you felt like you lost yourself.
I over
Mm,
did it because
mm,
they did zero. So it was almost like I'm over prioritizing and you're under
mm.
prioritizing. I meant nothing. And I had to realize that, and it shook me. Once the police came to my car, that was the waking moment.
So
Should it have been that long? Should it have taken that long? Most niggas be going to jail, and then people sit back like, why did you have to go to jail to realize? Well, I was living a fast life. I had to realize sitting in a car with a cop holding his pistol, wondering if I'm going to do something, and I'm coming off super calm to him, and then he's wondering why was there ever a disperse between you two if this man is super calm and you're the one who's aggravated? Because people love to take the other side until they realize his demeanor doesn't even show that he's any type of danger whatsoever.
so Sheree, let me ask you a question. Like just
Yeah,
from a woman's perspective, um, is there such thing? And it could be on either side. You know what I mean? A woman ODing or a man ODing. But is there such thing as like over prioritizing a mate?
It can be when there's only one sided. Yes,
Mm.
hmm
you could be the person that's always taking your spouse into consideration. You're always just thinking about them. You're always keeping them into consideration, but they're not reciprocating. They're not giving you that same energy. Like they're not thinking about you. They're not worrying about you at any time when it comes to just life every day. Um, some people feel like they may do that, but they really don't. Like, so just like he said, he over prioritized the person that he was with and it just turned into something else is because that person didn't prioritize him. He wasn't important to him. They weren't important to him as they were to him. So, that's a big issue for a lot of relationships, and a lot of relationships don't last because it's one sided.
that
It
part.
has to be both ways in order for it to work. Us as a couple make each other happy. So it's like if okay, you working hard, you doing all these things to make the situation better, prioritizing each other is important. Like just spending time and being with each other and knowing that that person is there, they exist, they matter, no matter what. Like sometimes we can get caught up into everyday life, like work, things like that, and we forget. So just like the other guy was saying earlier, like then people in the relationship start looking other places to
Hmm.
fill a void because they're lacking that attention or being felt like they matter to someone because they come second to everything. Like, you're not a priority to the person that you're with. The person you are with should never come second to anything
That
that
part.
you do, unless it's your children, by the way.
Flash.
Um, but in general, as being in a relationship or a couple, your spouse should come first,
Most
unless
definitely.
y'all have children. They should come first. Job, whatever, like anything happen today or tomorrow, it all that stuff don't matter. My spouse is what matters. And we forget that. We get caught up into a lot of things that we have going on, everyday life. So when you hear the question is, do you prioritize
That part.
your spouse in your everyday? Because we prioritize our everyday. So is your spouse a part of that prioritize? Do you think in your head, like, okay, at 9 o'clock I drop my kids off. At 10 o'clock I gotta be at work. So I'm at work from 10 to 3. I pick my kids up at 3. And then at 5 I go home, I cook, and then by the time 8 or 9 I wanna be laying with my spouse. Do you prioritize your spouse in that way? because people feel as though they do, but in all reality, they don't.
Mm.
You miss each other. You skip over each other sometimes. So for when you hear the question, it's just not a quick answer. You really have to sit back and think like, damn, do I really prioritize my spouse for real, for real? If I had to look at a week, how much time do I make for my spouse or my significant other in a week, like I do with my everyday? Like how much time in a week do you think your spouse fits in? At what point?
Mm.
So, when you hear it, some people just say, "Oh yeah, I do. I think about them all the time." No, it's bigger than thinking about. Like literally, like penciling in. For a fact at 8 o'clock, me and my spouse is gonna be with each other. I don't care what else is going on. I don't care anything else I got to do. I don't care about no phone. I don't care about no work. I don't care about social media. All I care about in that moment. That's why people do date nights. That's why people, schedule certain things, because they don't want their spouse to feel like they're not prioritizing, like they're not important to them when it comes to relationships, and they're being neglected. They're not. So in order to do that, you make sure that whatever you do on a day-to-day, that they are a priority. Even if it's a, hey, how you doing, how was your day, or something, just acknowledging them. We don't really do that. A lot of people don't do that.
That's the minimum.
And that's why it felt almost like for so many years, you've been wanting out.
Mm.
And I was ignoring that consistently over and over. And then when it finally, you see, a lot of things, what I've realized after that experience, it was more so, sometimes the best thing is when people split. When the person's not for you, that split is like heaven.
Mm.
Because stuff started happening for me, and it was like, I started getting calls from hospitals and other jobs that were increasing my pay. Random people were reaching out to me. Jobs would look at me and say, "Look, I'm gonna promote you," and it would be like, "What was holding me back?" The
No,
person,
I don't mean to cut your wisdom. Let me tell you something, and this
yeah,
is facts. God will not give you things when you're in the wrong company,
mm,
because He knows that you're gonna mess it up.
Wow.
mm,
There were things that I had on the table while I was married that never came to fruition. That when I finally stepped away from it, came about. Um, he can't give you things that when you're in the wrong company, he knows they're going to either influence you or cause you to not appreciate it the way it's supposed to be, or just not be able to move in it the way you're supposed to.
right.
So there are certain things that come to you after you leave a certain situation, and you're like, damn, like what all this time? Why didn't this happen before? No, he could not give it to you. You were not prepared for it. So that was powerful what you just said. I apologize, but I had to say that.
Hey, you live and you learn, and you pray to God to guide you in better steps where you don't waste so much time. That's why I value my time and energy now. That most people say, "Oh, Castle, you're so serious." With the experience, I'm not taking trauma from that. It's just more so I'm very, very careful, because one wrong move, you're in the same spot, and before you know it, you're doing the same thing over again. And a lot of people tend to try to do the same cycle and expect a different outcome from it, and it just doesn't work that way.
That's insanity.
It just
Literally
doesn't work that way.
definition.
So it's like, and I've lived in a family where both my parents are still together till today. My grandparents died on the same bed, 98, together. So it's like when I see myself go through a situation like that, and I'm like, now I gotta question myself, because self-worth is everything. Your peace is everything. And we all see those red flags in our different individual lives. And I say individual lives because everybody has a preference. Some people's toxicity, other people, they're cool with it. So everybody varies. But you know exactly what you're willing to accept and not. And before you decide to complain, even asking yourself in a week's time, will I be fine with this? Or is this going to give me high blood pressure? And then you go go from there. You move accordingly. If it, that's why people are like, wait, Cosmo, you really overthink things. No, I'm just careful because if I start to question something and then start complaining about it, I have to realize you put yourself in that predicament because you accepted whatever came to you. We attract different individuals, but it's what you accept into your life that move upon. And if you don't take accountability to that, then that's on you.
So Kaz, let me ask you a
Yes,
question.
sir.
Um, so what have you, just in your time of clarity and reflection, what are some things that you think you could do differently moving forward to the next experience with, a new mate or whatever the case may be? Where do you think you went wrong in that past relationship? Where do you think you went wrong, or what you didn't see, or what you didn't do? And what are you preparing yourself to do in the next,
So
relationship?
I went wrong with, I don't even know if it was even considered compromising anymore. Because the certain values that I had for myself, it was like if you have a list on a piece of paper, and these are things that you've been doing from all of your life that were manners that made you into the man you are. It was like I was erasing certain stuff and taking away from myself. Things that I normally love to do, I would erase, even to my own talents. That was a big thing that she didn't quite like. So I stopped it. I stopped something that God even gave me. A natural. I cut off so much shit to where it was like, you're losing yourself. You're lucky that you even have a vehicle. I paid all the bills. I did all this stuff that, alpha males and all this other extra shit. I was overbearing to my own self.
Yeah, so
You're pushing yourself to the edge, and it's almost like you're about to let go of the bridge.
how old
If you don't,
started that relationship? I'm sorry.
you said how old was it?
How old were you when you guys were involved in that relationship?
I was 25 at the time.
Yeah, that's a 25-year-old mistake.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I won't even say mistake. I'll say that's a 25-year-old experience. You know what I mean? And so don't beat yourself up too much. You know what I mean? Because the best is yet to come. You know what I mean? At 25 years old, that was a good experience for you. You know what I mean? So you can prepare for the next best thing. You know what I mean?
Right. And so,
So,
like, I sat back and I thought to myself, no, I needed that.
mm-hmm.
See, when my parents always, now when we talk about the whole thing, my parents will look at me and be like, you know what's crazy? Out of the whole entire thing, once you guys broke up and you got kicked out of the house and you were on your own, the thing that they loved about me the most is that I stayed focused.
Mm.
My mindset, like, even as 25 at the time, I aimed in pushing myself forward. So I'm gonna use all the energy that I'm depressed and sad, and I'm gonna put it towards bettering myself as a person. I got back into school. I got my job. I got my apartment in less than a month.
Mm-hmm.
ASAP got myself back on to my. So when I went to court with all that whole situation that happened, I left and went back to my own place in the same month that everything happened. I was too focused. I literally put myself as a priority finally. After years of no priority, I focused on myself. And my mom was sitting back like, I didn't lose my son all the way. Because he put himself in a way to where he used that energy in a positive manner. Bounce back up and focus on himself.
I gotta ask you, bro.
Yes, sir.
Number one is how old are you, and number two, how far, how long ago was this relationship?
So this was 2.5 years ago. I'm 32 now.
Okay, I'm gonna say this to you, and this is coming from a real place. You need um, like a place of healing, like real healing, because apparently this is a huge part of your life. Um, and number two, don't ever exclude counseling. Um, just to make sure that you want to up and up. There's nothing wrong with that. Um, I'm listening to you speak, and it's powerful because you seem like you put like all your eggs in one basket. Not to make it that simple, but more or less like you prioritize somebody that just didn't see you as a priority, more of an option. Um, and that can hurt, especially when you trying your best. So I'm gonna say this, like brother, like listen, whatever belief system you belong to, um, uh, cling to that, and definitely, try to find like that time for that healing, because yeah, this might have been,
I mean,
this sound like it was rough.
see, the main reason why it was so rough is right is I was raised in a family where it was strict, so I didn't bring females around my family. I never introduced anybody to anybody.
Mm,
Then I ended up getting married.
mm,
I actually hated that. So I had people from my actual where my parents are from on tablets on FaceTime. It was that serious. I didn't believe in breaking up. I literally took it that far. Then to get the backlash after I finally came to all those family members, I mean, I tried to stay away, but then of course everybody's gonna be in business. To look at people who you've ignored for so many years and tell them I was blinded, I was stuck, and as crazy as it sounds, and you guys want to understand because you you knew better. When you know better, you do better. You never put yourself through predicaments like that. And then I finally get to the point of marriage, this thing that people admire, and it's like a it's like a it's like somebody holding a gun in front of your face, and you're praying that they won't shoot you, and the person happens to be somebody you love. And over, when you had a chance to leave out, they put the gun back in your face, and you're like, I'm back here at the same spot again, over and over and over, and then finally you get out, and it's peace. That's why I'm so
you
focused
got
on. I've been so focused on myself and like going back to school, bettering myself, and actually learning myself again.
yeah, you got a lot going on, bro. You got you got a lot going on. But nevertheless, like, God bless, man, and continue your journey.
At
Like, you
least
know what
on
I
this
mean?
slide, it felt good.
Whatever
Yeah,
it takes for you to heal, and to move forward or whatever, to continue to do that. Cause yeah, it's a lot.
yeah, I wanted to thank Cheris. Is it?
Oh, sure.
Oh, sure. I want to appreciate you. So I read the room before I came up here. And I figured, okay, this is a spot that's safe enough for me to really open up. I don't ever usually do this. Normally, I'm on lives just talking about relationships. But this one, I was like, I looked at that spouse thing and it hit me different. Because first of all, the title is, no, I don't hear titles like that very often. People don't go
Mm-hmm.
into and talk, and these are conversations that they need to have, but they don't really go into conversations like this. So it was like a platform for me to be like, okay, the only person I used to vent to was her. So when I finally could do this, I was like, okay, use this time, make it short. These people are wise. They're older than you. It's a safe spot.
Mm-hmm.
God guide me, and it feels like relieving because it's like, oh, I be holding a lot of shit in. So I do appreciate you guys for not judging me, not looking at me or
Yep.
downing me, counting me down or anything like that.
Yep. Thank you. We appreciate you come on sharing.
No, no, and I'll definitely do that, my brother. So you guys have an amazing night.
You
I thank
too.
you for the advice. I really do. Appreciate it.
Yep. You too. Woo.
Oh, that's a lot to retain.
That was a lot. It gets serious.
Good, bro.
It's a team effort, boy. You gotta teamwork make the dream work. I'll tell you.
Takes a village.
And that's for sure. I don't care what nobody say. Can't be one sided at
At
all.
all. Nah.
At all. Or somebody going to jail. on that part. Okay, but yeah,
I'm sorry. This,
I don't
I'm
know what's
sorry.
wrong. It's loud. That was crazy.
Anyway, mm-mm. All right, yeah, no.
Um, I don't know what's up with this live. Again, it looks like it's acting crazy. Ah, there we go. Jamal.
Where you go? Hello?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm here right here.
What are you doing?
Yeah, so I wanted to kind of tap in on because my man was talking about uh just like over prioritizing somebody. So my question to y'all is all right. So we did pretty much kind of answer that question. Yes, you can have over prioritizing. You know, where the priority is not mutual between two people. Now my thing is what about goal setting? You know what I mean? So um, what type of consideration gets placed um, on legacy, on goal setting? So let's just say, and not even for vanity, not even for just riches, you know, not for just those things that glamour and glitz. Let's just say, you know, you've been with your family, y'all had your first home or whatever the case may be, and you know now y'all want to move into maybe not the dream house, but maybe, you know, just that next level up. The kids getting bigger and, you know, their rooms getting smaller. And so you guys have a goal. All right, cool. We're going to work on our credit. We're going to bring in more hours, this, that, and the third, or whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? Um, so is there ever a time where we can prioritize not necessarily the attention, but prioritize each other by prioritizing the goal?
You can prioritize the goal and prioritize each other. That still don't take away from the relationship or what y'all have, the bond that y'all have, because that's what keeps y'all together is making each other a priority, regardless of what path you're taking or what goal you're setting. Like it's still y'all two. Y'all still are the common that y'all the common ground rather. Like
You, I'm sorry. You can't prioritize two things. There's no such thing.
yeah.
For you to set something as a priority means that literally that is the sole goal. If you decide that multiple things are priorities, then that's a huge issue within itself. You got to deal with
Hmm.
that on your own. But a priority literally means to have that one thing as the ultimate goal. So if you are to prioritize your family, then your family is that main aim. If your career is your priority, then that is your main aim. We can't like start switching and swapping things out because it just sounds good, like cool to say, or it's cool, like oh yeah, this is priority and that's priority too. Like it is no such thing. Like our two things priority. Um, so like maintain your focus, know what means the most to you, and dedicate yourself to that purpose. There's nothing wrong with dedicating yourself to one thing. You don't have to be like, spread across a million different fields and say, oh, this is important to me. All of these things are important. They can all be important, but what's priority?
Hmm.
If priorities your happiness, then be happy.
Yeah.
If priorities your wife, then make your wife cool, whatever. But let's not like do the whole thing where we make it like out to be like this whole thing where oh yeah, well it's cool. I prioritize everything. Like, what do you mean? Like that it makes absolutely no sense. Let's not do that.
Yeah, I mentioned it too because Like that's a big issue in households, and just in transparency, and we've talked about it before. That was a issue in our household with me, like, taking on a lot of hours at work, what I mean, at the shop or whatever the case may be, and just not prioritizing, my wife at the time. Now, in my head, I was prioritizing, my family, because in my head, I'm doing what I have to do to provide for us. So that's an interesting, topic, because I apologize for it, afterwards. When I really sat back and listened for understanding, I heard where she was coming from, and I saw it. It was almost like hindsight is 2020. I'm like, damn, those moments where she was like creating time, or space for us to, spend time. I didn't take it as serious, you know, and it wasn't because I felt I chose my occupation over my family. I felt that I chose my family, and through my occupation, I will put us in a better place. But like I said, I already apologized, because I got what she was saying. You know what I mean? So I didn't want to negate that. But I know there's other brothers that are probably in the same situation, where they really feeling in a heart of hearts, you know what I mean, in all transparency and all genuineness, that what they're doing is for their family, and so it's so that I just wanted to bring attention to that, because sometimes I feel like, to a certain degree, what I mean, it came across like, well, you know what you're doing, what I'm saying, you just want to be in the shop, this, that, third. And I'm like, no, this really was my thought, that my efforts and what I'm doing is making things better. Like, we actually doing a couple more things, or I'm able to get a few more things for what we got going on, or whatever the case may be. So that is a thing, and I don't think every man is really just saying, hey, my job is more important than my family. If we're talking about men that are setting goals for their family, that a goal, you have short-term goals and you have long-term goals. And so if it's a man with a vision or a plan, that plan might not, even be expected to manifest for 2, 3, 5 years. You know what I mean? But these plans are centered with, what I mean, them being in a better position. Or he might be thinking about his grandkids. Listen, I'm gonna make this move, so not only we can be good, but our grandkids or our grandkids' kids can be good. And so that takes sacrifice. You know what I mean? So I wanted to just make it clear, it's not always guys that just don't like their or love their household or their family. Sometimes, if anything else, it's somewhat of a sacrifice, but it doesn't get looked at like that. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah,
just wanted to
because you
put
shouldn't
that.
never
Oh,
sacrifice. You shouldn't never be sacrificing the person that you are with. At the end of the day, is basically what it's about. Because, and what makes it bad, um, even for men to feel like, women don't look at it like, as like, okay, I'm working hard for us. What makes it even worse is that when you have that type of issue in your household, that you're not prioritizing your spouse, and they're calling out for that help. Like, when somebody need help, they do certain things, they act certain kind of way, they behave a certain kind of way. That's their way of crying for help. um you know Instead of looking at it as like, oh, let me change up some things, let me do things a little bit different because the person I'm with is bringing it to my attention and telling me, you know, you tend to look to other places and look at it as a nag or a complaint, because you looking at it as like, well, I'm hustling and bustling, busting my ass for you. But in all reality, you hustling and bustling for yourself. You're not hustling and bustling for the person that you're with. You're just using that as an excuse that you're hustling and bustling for the person that you with. Because when you are a team, it's y'all goal together. But the other person that you are with is not sacrificing other things, well, sacrificing you for other things that they're trying to accomplish. They're still trying to accomplish that goal and prioritize you. in the same breath.
Okay, that's really compounded right there. I'm gonna say this. First, let's touch on sacrifice. What are you sacrificing for what you consider to be the greater good? Because more or less, you were saying like me sacrificing time would be me, providing more and doing more for my family. Sacrificing what's important for what's superficial doesn't make sense. Let's do that. I'm gonna give you a little tidbit in my life. My first daughter I had when I was 18 years old. Matter of fact, I apologize. She was born 3 days after my 19th birthday. I was a kid. So being as though I didn't have my father in my life, I thought a good father was someone who provided financially. So therefore, I maintained employment. I made sure my daughter had. I sacrificed this and the third. A wise man once told me a child spells love, Time. And that hit different. And I say that to say this. What we think or what we perceive to be the best thing for whoever we're providing for, whether it
Mm-hmm.
be wife, children, or otherwise, isn't always the actual thing that's the most beneficial. Sometimes the things that cost the least mean the most. So I say that to say this, and I'm not. This isn't necessarily like falls into the realm of whatever it is that y'all going through. I'm just saying this. Um, Provide more than uh, financial or superficial gains to what you prioritize. If you prioritize your family, then they mean more than just trips to the Bahamas and this, that, and the third, or whatever. Your presence is way more important than that. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, when we talk about prioritizing or whatever, just make sure that you know exactly what your priority is and exactly how you are in which ways you need to prioritize that what you prioritize if that makes any sense. But no, nevertheless, like don't ever say to yourself like, "Oh, I'm doing this for them," and in the process, you're depriving them of your presence,
Mm-hmm.
or you're depriving them of what's essential for you to build real relationships. Because you could be a millionaire and provide your children with every possible whim they could ever ask for, and they would never grow to respect you due to the fact that they have absolutely no idea who you are. So um, just do that. But nevertheless, man, yo, listen, I love y'all because I'm about to go. I'm about to get off. Um, but yo, y'all the truth.
Good stuff.
Hey, no doubt.
All right.
All right. Y'all have a good
You
night.
too.
All right.
All right, so age versus experience. We done hit that. We done hit that topic. You know what I mean? Um, but like you were saying, we did have a situation where somebody had an older partner, and they felt that their partner wanted to make all the decisions or whatever the case may be, and didn't, and disregarded their experience in life, and just looked at it like, all right, I'm older or whatever the case may be, and it should go my way, you know. And just to tap on that, I mean, just because somebody is older, it doesn't necessarily mean that they had a right of way when it comes to what's going on in the relationship. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, sometimes we do need to just listen to people that do have life experience, and there's nothing wrong with that either. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes you have to concede to somebody and not just challenge somebody just because, you know what I mean? So um, I do feel like sometimes we do have to concede to people that do have, you know, life experience, because that's an experience in itself. You know what I mean? So, all right, talk to us, Sheree. What we got going on for the in person? Talk to us.
Oh, so we still looking for
What we need.
people to join the panel. I have 2 women and 2 men so far, so I need 2 women, 2 more women, and 2 more men for the live in person, which is pretty much like an open mic night. We talk about whatever anybody wants to talk about. We just take those conversations and go from there. So far we do have 2 and 2, so I still need 2 more of men and women. So if anybody is interested in being on a panel of the live in person, just inbox me and let me know. It'll be March 22nd, which is in 2 weeks. Is at a private location, so you do have to purchase a ticket to enter the place, which that link will be in my bio once I got the whole panel set. But if anybody's interested and have some things they want to talk about, you're definitely open to join the panel and, speak your piece. And yeah.
So listen, dude. So what do we have any more perspective on doing um, the dating type thing?
Um, no, cause see the thing is like everybody that come on here and they join the live and we talking, this all needs crowd participation. So the thing is that everybody has so much to say, so many ideas, but you need people to join um and participate. So when I put it out there, people won't say anything until hey Jax
Yeah, we
and
back. We're back.
Yeah, back in the mix.
people don't say anything until it's like, oh yeah, you still haven't, and it's like, well, where was you at when I've been talking about it, posting it, asking, and everything? So teamwork makes the dream work. If anybody's interested, again, that wants to be a part of this panel, you have to let me know. Hopefully, at least no later than this Sunday, because I want to try to get the panel together and get the flyer out so people can buy tickets and everything else and join. Be able to join us that night or whatever. Because, like I said, you do have to purchase a ticket to come into the live in person. So, hi, Jax.
What's going on,
What
guys?
up,
I don't. We.
How
though?
are you? We couldn't
I,
see you last week. I don't know.
I know, man. It was all good. I was over here, fuck, having convulsions and trembling and all that kind of good shit. But nah, that's all good. That's right. You know what I'm saying? The Lord didn't want me to ruin any relationships and burn. Uh, that's all that was.
Woo! That was a lot.
I missed. I didn't. I just got back home and shit, so I wasn't really. I haven't heard what y'all was talking about so far. So, What was y'all talking about? I see the topic or whatever. Do it, prioritizing your spouse every day. Like, what's the consensus so far?
Um. So,
I'll be right back.
well, you don't have a spouse, so you can't even.
No,
But oh, he don't walked off.
no, I'm still here.
Oh, I'm like he don't walked off. Oh no. So basically, do you feel like you should prioritize your spouse in your everyday, and then also um age versus experience, far as just life experiences, well, from a relationship standpoint, would you take advice basically from a person by age or experience?
I got you. I'm coming back. I'm coming back. I'm coming back. Oh, all right. Here we go. Oh shit. My bad. I heard you. I heard you. Yes. No. No. I do not have a spouse. You are correct. I don't have a spouse.
But if you did,
Well, wait. Let me get
or
my.
in the
Let me get
past,
my
do
jokes
you
off
feel like?
first. let me get my. Let me get my no pussy getting jokes off first.
Oh,
I don't have a spouse. I probably will never. I'm still trying to afford one. I'm still, you know what I'm saying? My bank account is nowhere near me being a good man yet, but I'm working on it or whatever. I'm a very hard worker, but, women don't respect hard work. They just respect results, and I respect that. So, I might get married. At this pace, I'll probably get married when I'm about 68.
damn.
Yeah, I got about 30 years to go. You know what I mean? But it's cool, though. I'm optimistic about it, you know? Um, but no, if I did have a spouse, or I'll just go back to my previous relationships or what have you, right? So I would say that I did prioritize like a daily, at least a daily level of communication. I prioritized that. Like it was always important for me to at least communicate with them on a daily basis. Not necessarily because I felt like I needed to, or that it had nothing to really do with me, because I could go. I don't have to really talk to you every day. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not a person who has trust issues. Um, I understand that people are busy. I understand that people are chasing their dreams and their aspirations, and they got work. Some people got children. I did date one woman with a child. You know what I mean? So like I understand the fact that sometimes you just don't have time or whatever. And I'm cool with that. You know what I mean? But mostly though, it was them wanting to kind of like hear from me on a daily basis, right? So I always just kind of made it a point to at least you don't shoot a text. I'm not the biggest phone person. I hate the phone. I hate the phone. I hate FaceTiming because it paralyzes me from really being able to get work done. Like I'm a texter because I can text somebody and hold a conversation that can prolong for several hours, but I can still get work done. I can still be active, and I can still like have a life on the other side of the phone, as opposed to like holding the phone up to my ear or having earbuds in and shit like all fucking day. Like that shit is annoying. But I mean, if that's what they want to talk every day. Like I can have a short little "what's up," check in, like how you doing, type of thing. But I don't necessarily. No, I'm just saying, like I don't. The life I live, like my life, not really exciting on a day-to-day basis. So it's like we end up kind of saying the same shit like every day. You know what I mean? Like it wouldn't, unless I got something coming up, or I got like a project or a shoot, or I'm out of town or something like that. But other than that, I mean, my day is pretty routine. Up, I edit, then I go to the gym, then I come back to the crib, then I shower, then I eat, then I edit some more, then I jack off, and then I go to sleep, and I do that. I don't know, like I
The life of Jax, I tell
yeah,
you.
yeah, I be telling the truth on here. I don't know what to say. Yeah,
Oh, that is hilarious. So
um,
how do you feel about the age versus experience thing?
I mean, think I think experience trumps all. Um, but I do think with age it comes like a certain level of wisdom, though. Like you know what I'm saying. Whether you had a bunch of experiences or not too many experiences, just being on Earth for a certain amount of time, I think warrants you at least a certain amount of respect when it comes to when it comes to wisdom.
Mm.
And because I could be 25, and I may have lived like a hell of a life by the time I'm 25, but somebody who's 35, maybe they haven't done all the things that I've done, but they've probably just seen more just based on just them being here more. Like I think that there's something to that. Like they might not be an expert in what I need them to be an expert in, but as far as just like earthly wisdom, like they're probably more of an expert than I am, just simply because they've had more time.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. And you know, when we were saying that too, like how I can relate, you know what I mean? With like sometimes like you had your elders or mentors or whatever the case may be, and I think it's good sometimes too to concede to your mentors because it brings a certain amount of just humility to it because you know what I mean you may have the experience or you know what I mean you may think you got it going on, but sometimes I think you get more grace um, and more mercy when you still like concede to your elders or those who have had more time on this earth. Even like you said at the base level, just a basic like respect towards their perspective or whatever like that. So I try not to like get ahead of myself when I'm dealing with like certain mentors. You know what I mean? And even though in my head with certain things I might not feel like they were right per se, or I might have experience in that area. Like sometimes I still will, you know what I mean, definitely, you know, show that respect and just like and just kind of take heed, you know what I mean, because it's like a grounding thing, you know what I mean, for
Yeah.
me.
I think also too, like people who are like older people who have seen more, like they may not necessarily be more versed in what's going on right now today, but I feel like they could fill in the blank of how things were when we weren't here yet. You know what I
Mm,
mean? Like if I was born in '84, so like from '84 up until the current day, like I could probably go toe to toe for somebody for those 38 years. But what about from '74 to '84?
mm,
Like somebody who's 20 years older than me, they could give me like a history lesson on how things were in the time where I didn't exist yet, and maybe everything won't connect to today, but maybe I can take bits and pieces out of story. Like I did that with my grandparents like all the time, where I would be telling them about something that I'm struggling with or I have a challenge with in the present day, but because of a story that they told me that happened in the 50s,
mm,
put bits and pieces of that story and apply it. And because some things are timeless,
mm,
like
mm,
some work no matter what era that we're in, and then obviously other things don't. You know what I mean? But it's still like I think that those conversations and those like little drops of wisdom, they can help you because it's like it's basically kind of like having something uh until you need it. You just kind of keep it in your back pocket. You know
mm,
what I mean? Like you might not, when you hear it or when you're having a conversation, you may be thinking like, man, this is never gonna apply to anything I'm doing in my life until it does. And then boom, like now you had that gem that you could just kind of like pull out your back pocket that your grandfather told you when he was ripping and
mm,
running fucking years ago. Like,
mm,
you know.
mm. Yeah, that's a fact. Shit, when you look at it, I mean, uh, history is definitely a hell of a way to determine the future. You know what I mean? If we look at the forecast, you know what I mean? If we look at how we've been able to tell weather, the fact that we know seasons is because the consistency of the patterns over years and years of time, we can say, you know what? I'm willing to bet in July it's going to be pretty hot. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
but that's because of history. So yeah, I mean, that definitely does weigh in. You know what I
And
mean?
they
So.
and they say her past doesn't matter.
Yes, it
Fucking
does.
fucking right, it do.
Yes, it does, madam.
No, it don't.
Yeah.
That's a big topic now. How you feel about that, Cherie? Do a girl's past
No,
matter?
no,
Yeah.
Why you feel like that?
it doesn't matter. The past doesn't have nothing to do with the present. Nothing. Because
Okay,
the past could have been better than the present.
okay.
But she sacrificed the past for the present.
So it matters
So
then.
it don't matter.
Uh,
The past doesn't matter. What happened in the past that has nothing to do with the present. It's like
So
starting all over again. Whatever you did in the past, you may not do the same thing in the present. You
mm,
may take some tips from the past, like I know not to do that for the present. So it don't matter.
well, I think just based off of that last sentence, it does matter because it's teaching you a lesson.
Yeah, but it don't. It still doesn't matter. You shouldn't judge a book by its cover. You shouldn't be trying to hold on to somebody's past
No. But see,
for what y'all got going on for right now. It don't matter.
I think the past. I think something mattering and somebody I think and someone judging you by it and holding you to it are two totally different things. Because, like, for instance, everything is it's to me it's very ironic. Like, the past matters in every other aspect of all of our lives except for, like, we try to say that it doesn't matter when in terms of love and relationships and dating and shit like that. Because, like, your childhood definitely matters, the way that you were brought up matters, your parents matter, your family tree matters, your credit matters, how you've paid bills matter, your upbringing matters, your environment matters, like, your medical history matters. Like, if the past didn't matter, nobody, you could just walk into a doctor and, like, they wouldn't ask you no
But y'all
questions.
just said, do a woman's past matter? So if do
I didn't
our
say
past matter? That should be the
the
question. Do you
no.
feel as though the past with anyone
Yes,
should matter, not just a woman?
yes. I say yes. I think all of that shit matters for men or women, and I think we and I'm not saying that you did this, but just in general, I think too quickly when we say the past matters, we automatically jump to, like, her sexual past, and that's not necessary. And to me, if your mind automatically jumps there, to me
Yeah.
that's like a guilty conscience. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's not necessarily what I'm talking about.
No, I'm not talking. No, I ain't talking about that either.
Well,
It's
okay,
not just about sex. It's about just in general. It could be the people that you dealt with, the type of people that you dealt with, like your past patterns with other people, things like that.
very
I don't
important.
think that matters because everything is different with everybody. That's what I mean. You don't have to necessarily just be sexual.
That's very important. I see. I respectfully disagree wholeheartedly, because that tells the story of, like, who you were, and who you are today is a culmination of who you were yesterday.
But I don't necessarily agree with that because I don't feel like the relationship I'm in now is the same as any other relationship I've ever been in. I couldn't compare them. I couldn't say, like, oh, I act the same way when I was in other relationships, or I had experiences in other relationships that I do now. No, I don't.
But
I
that
haven't.
a comparison isn't a parallel. A comparison could also be, this situation was negative, and now this situation is positive. That's a comparison. A
Yeah.
parallel is both of them being the same thing. Like, I can come, because honestly, I see this in a lot of people, not just women, right? In terms of, like, dating, like, the person that you end up with when you 30 and 40 is the exact opposite of the people that you was attracted to when you was 18 and 25, and that's because your past matters, because the decisions and the choices that you made when you were young finally get to a point where you was like, oh shit, that was stupid. Oh shit, I shouldn't be attracted to this. Oh shit, this isn't what I really, really want. So if you would have never gone through your past experiences, you would never end up where you are right now today and making your present day choices and decisions. So how can you say that your past don't matter? Like that.
Because because that's just like people who have, like, your expectations, right? Like, you have these expectations of what you want in your relationships, and all the expectations are all of your past relationships that you wanted, but it may have been certain things that it didn't work out. And then all of your don'ts that you don't want in the relationship you end up with.
What? I'm confused.
Like, all the things that you said you weren't going to do, like,
Uh-huh.
I'm not going to be with somebody that has this, or I'm not going to be with somebody that does that, or I don't want that. That's not what I want. And then you end up what you don't want.
And but how did you end up there? Like, we're taking out the everybody says, like, life is about the journey, not the destination. The fucking journey is your past. Like,
I just feel like it's not.
the journey the journey is learning lessons along the way and looking back and being able to, the only way that you'll be able to be an expert at shit is by making mistakes.
Of
Mis-
course.
Mistakes are something of the past. The only way that you learn from something is because you remember some shit that you used to do. That's the only way. You can't see something in front of you that you've never encountered, never seen, never experienced, and learn from that until it happens.
I mean, not necessarily, because a lot of my things from the past, it don't have nothing to do with my past. It has been people's past. Like, I've seen other people's experiences that I said I don't want for me. So I would just turn the other corner because I myself don't want to experience that looking at someone else.
What kind of tools do you have? Because you are moving the goalpost like a motherfucker. Like, you unscrewed that bitch, moved over.
I'm just saying. I've seen other people experiences. They've gone through stuff that I've seen people I've grown up with, and I'm like, okay, I don't want that for me. So I need to do what I need to do so that won't happen to me. So I may not have necessarily experienced it, but I've seen other people experience it, and I just did other things to avoid those things happening to me.
And they experienced them when?
What you mean?
When did they experience the thing?
The things?
Yeah.
During their time of whenever, growing up.
The past. They experienced them in the past.
It's not my past, though, is what I'm saying. It is not mine. It's other people's experiences.
So only your past don't matter, is what you're saying.
No, I'm talking about what I said it didn't matter because he said, do women's past matter? I said no.
But why? But this. All right, let's try to let's do our best, both of us collectively. let's do our best to take the debate out of it.
No debate.
Like, are we really gonna sit here and say, no, seriously? I'm 38. I'm 38 years old.
Me too.
Can we really both say that everything that happened in our lives, everything up until today, don't matter?
I'm not saying it does not matter. I said that when he asked, do women's past matter? That's what it said. That's what he said originally, Jamal. And I said, no, it don't.
But wait, so what I'm trying to get you to really unclench the kung fu grip that you have with the sisterhood right now. Because I don't right now, like, I don't have it a lot. Like, I'm not arguing men versus women, right? I'm arguing people.
Past do matters. You learn from your mistakes. Yes, that is true. It do matter. Yes.
So why are you separating, like, people from women? Because women are people.
That's because when we first started talking about this, Jamal said, so let me ask a question, Cherie. Do women's past matter? That's all I'm saying. And I said no.
But now that I'm saying, do people?
All right, so what you're saying, yes, your past does matter. It does matter.
You was like, I mean, people past matter, but women's past don't. That don't make no sense.
I'm just saying, I went off of what he said first. No, but your past do matter. You learn from your mistakes. You definitely do. You learn from the things that may have happened in the past. It does matter.
Oh my God, yo, boy, that's so funny. I wonder why do you think women hang on to that so tight?
What?
Why do you think hypothetically speaking, right? Like, why do you think that women want to disassociate from their past so badly? Because, like,
because see, the thing is, the reason why is because women are always being judged by their past, and which is not cool because, hey, Jenny, nobody should be judged by their past because their past is their past. It has nothing to do with their present. And a lot of times for women, we get judged. Like, again, we can go off of the stripper thing. Like, you could have met me and found out that I was a stripper in my former life or whatever. And it's like, now you're holding it against me because you met me and I'm a nurse. I was a stripper because I was paying for myself to go through school. Okay. Not because, I was a hoe. I was selling my ass. I was doing all this extra stuff, which wasn't true. That was my hustle. That's how I got myself through school and through my education. And then when you met me, I'm this nurse. I'm making good money. I'm doing well for myself, everything else. And then you may do your own little investigation, a little background check on me, and you find out that I was a stripper. Now you know that I'm a stripper, or I was a stripper in my former life of time, and now you like looking at me sideways as if that's supposed to affect what you see now, and it shouldn't.
Now, is it not within every man or woman's right to be able to have as much information about you as they can, and then still decide to love you as much as they can? Like, why? Because this is the thing that that's always baffled me about when we have like the do women's past matter conversation. It's like, it baffles me because you want a man or a person, you want a person who's gonna love you in your totality, right? Mm-hmm. They're gonna love every part of you, every aspect of you, just everything about you. You want them, for genuine love, they're gonna love everything about you. They might not love everything that you do, but in totality, they love you, who you are, as is, right? But you're kind of taking that ability away if you don't lay it all out on the table and say, yo, this is 100% who I am. This is authentically me. This is who I genuinely am. These are all the things that I used to do. These are the things that I'm currently doing, and these are the things that I want to do in the future. What do you think about that? How do you feel about that? And then allow space for that person to give you honest feedback and honestly tell them how you feel. Because what I will say is I think, and this is what I don't know if women really understand, right? The guy who's really for you, he's not gonna give a fuck that you stripped.
Mm-hmm.
He's not gonna give a fuck if you was a prostitute. He's not gonna give a fuck if you got a 1,000 bodies. He's not gonna give a fuck if you got trains ran on you. He's not gonna give a fuck if you in the origin. No, I'm being dead. He's not gonna give a fuck.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
Oh, none of that. If he really truly loves you as a human being,
mm-hmm.
it's gonna matter. He's gonna love you past all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But you kind of strip that man of that opportunity because you don't even want to put all of the information on the table, and it's way worse. It's way worse for that man to find out that information as opposed to you give him that information.
But even when the information is given, and you still do your own little investigation, again, like I said, like it can be used against you.
So
and within your relationship. But I guess if that's the case, then that person ain't really for you, because they're going to love you unconditionally, especially if you came to them and told them like, okay, this is what I did. This is what's going on. I mean, this is what I did in my past. This is what's going on now. I was doing this because of this, but you know, that was then. This is not now. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. And I feel, and I don't know why, but a lot of women have like this weird obsession with like erasing their past. Like some women are fucking trying to tell you that they don't even got no exes. They ain't had sex with nobody before. Like, what are you like? What's that about? Like, because
it just doesn't be. It's not taken like I said. It's being held against you. Like it may like you're being judged off of whatever may have happened.
But
during the time before you even met the person that you're with. So it's like I can't even trust to share certain things because you're going to judge based off of whatever, you know, may have happened before you.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Yeah.
I mean, yeah, nigga, like what dog, if I was a drug dealer, murderer, killer, robber before I met you, and then I met the Lord and turned my life around, you have a right to know what the fuck I used to do and then make a choice on whether you want to go forward. That's your right to do that. if I omit that, if I don't tell you about that, or if I try to like catch amnesia, like, oh, I don't remember what I did before I was 28.
No, but you're not going to get amnesia. But at the same time, you can't just hold somebody's past against them. Now, if they're sharing with you because they feel as though, okay, like I see this relationship going somewhere, I'm going to share and tell you, this is what may have happened. That is what may have happened. That's you shouldn't use that against them because of whatever may have happened. Now, if y'all together now at this point, so if y'all building, wouldn't you rather know the truth about the person that you with or not? So you want to judge them because of I'm trying.
I you're saying, but that's all. That don't sound like a trap. That sound like a trap. Because you like yeah. I mean now. But you
not let me like you
now we already got you, nigga. I could leave at any time. Like,
no, I'm not saying that. I'm not. No, I'm not necessarily saying that. I'm just saying like you have two people, and that's just like okay. If I met you and you got out of jail,
okay,
and you could have been robbing banks, stuff like that. Not necessarily killing nobody, but robbing banks, and you did about 30, 40 years or whatever. So every single time I'm with you, I mean, we're building a relationship together. And now every time I think about leaving my house, you got to come with me because I don't know if you're going to rob me or not.
Oh, see, no, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking. See, you talking about staying in a relationship and holding over somebody's head. I'm talking about laying everything out on the table to give the other person the opportunity to decide on whether they want to do this or not all together.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like that should be. I don't think that there's anything wrong with that.
No, it's not nothing wrong with that. It is your choice to decide if you want to continue or not continue the relationship. But what I'm saying is Jenna's not letting you in. I don't know why I stand. Go out and go
I was
back
doing the same thing that was doing with Jax last week.
But at the same time, I done lost my train of thought because I was sitting here.
No, you was saying. So I wanted to chime in, like in terms of, hiding your past. You know what I mean? I think for one, you know what I mean. I would rather somebody know about my past. You know what I mean? Not know about my past or whatever. If I'm really taking somebody serious, I would prefer that they, you know what I mean, know who I am. You know what I mean? In particular, if they ask, you know what I mean? Because for real, I know that I'm bigger than, you know what I'm saying, any of my, any of my flaws or any of the things that I may have done prior to this. I think some people don't think that they're big enough than, you know what I'm saying, their past. Like if you're not interesting enough, if you're not more interesting than those things that you did in the past, then I can see you trying to hide it. You know what I mean? If you're not compelling enough, if you don't have a strong enough attraction to this person, I can see you trying to hide it. But if you are confident within yourself, if you are, you know what I mean, connected to who you are, you know what I mean, then if whoever is next doesn't respect it, then for real, that's on them. And people are so quick to lie. They're not realizing that being upfront is attractive. And they playing themselves. So they sit up here trying to hide your body count and this, that, and the third. You know what I mean? But yet you don't know. You don't know, but I do. Because I got homies that's telling me about, you know what I'm saying, how you was in high school and how you was here or this, that, and the third. And so, you playing this game, and for real, what it does is now it takes away from your actual character and your credibility. So I think that if somebody asks, it's not necessarily anybody's business, but if you just happen to ask and I'm feeling you about my past, and you know what I mean, I feel like, I would like to go further with you, or you interested enough to go there, then be upfront. Like that's the problem. People want transparency with everything else. And females want transparency with everything else except for their sexual past. You know what I mean? Then now, you know what I'm saying, we got the ball in our hand and we trying to block everything. So it's like, listen, you know what I mean? It's a part of life. And then sometimes you can tell based on somebody, sex life, like, yo, you a naive John. You know what I mean? Or you weak. You easily succumb to a little bit of game. I need to know what I'm getting into. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the thing. You keep on falling in love, you know what I'm saying, with every little body that you rocking with, and you blaming love for these, you know what I'm saying, for promiscuity. And it's like, come on, man. You know what I'm saying? And people need to know what your thing is. If you like sex, if you enjoy sex, then that's cool too. Because now you can find a mate that, you know what I mean, understands, you know, like, hey, I'm sexually driven. And that's cool. Like, it's people, it's niggas for that. You know what I mean? If you just a naive John that just kept on, you know, quote unquote, falling in love or whatever like that over and over and over and over again, then, you know, I think somebody needs to know that too. You know what I mean? So,
I I think we just gotta fucking keep it a buck and be like, there. If you trying to hide some shit that you used to do, you ashamed of that shit.
yeah.
Like, you ashamed of it. At the end of the day, no, I'm just saying, like, if because most of the time, if you really proud of something, you're not scared to talk about it. You're not scared to put it out there. You're not scared to be vocal about it.
Yeah.
Most of the time, the things that people don't want to talk about are the things that they're ashamed of, the things that they're ashamed that they did. They are ashamed of the decisions and the choices that they made. So they don't want to talk about it. They rather just suppress that shit, sweep it under the rug. So mentally, I can maybe force and train my brain to just fucking forget about it. Because you not proud of the way that you used to move. To me, in my opinion, because, and also I think we and we don't really talk about this that much because like men just really aren't really allowed to establish boundaries and standards. But if I came up a certain way and I feel like I made more positive choices than negative ones in my past, and that's the reason I am the way that I am today.
Okay.
A lot of people don't fucking deserve me. And like, and that's a lot of people not gonna meet the standard that I have for myself. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because to me, the choices that you made when you were younger says a lot about your character. Because it's easy to lean on, oh, I was young and dumb. Oh man, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I was just young. I was stupid. I was wild. No, I'm just saying. So imagine the people who actually we were all young. We all had youth. We all were 18. We all were 23. We all had the opportunities to make the same dumbass decisions. Some people made them, and some people refrained from them. So if I'm a person who refrains from making a whole bunch of dumbass decisions, why would I allow myself to like be with somebody who made the opposite of all of the decisions that I made? And that because ultimately that makes us who we are as adults. Like I should be able to have that standard as a man. I should be able to have certain boundaries and where I could proudly and loudly be like, nah, like you did that. I don't fuck with that. And it's cool. We could be cool, but we're not gonna be nothing more than that because of some of the decisions that you made. I can't really. I don't know. Like your character is in question. Like I don't think that there's any. I don't think that there should be anything wrong with saying that. Because at the end of the day, like you did what you did. It might have been 20 years ago, but you still did that.
It's not Jax.
What?
He said, I can't wait to meet Mrs. Not Jax.
Oh, you're not gonna meet her. She don't exist. I don't know why y'all really y'all some hope dealers. I don't know why y'all still holding on to this. It's not gonna happen, bruh. I'm cool. I'm cool with that. I mean, I got a 4 a.m. Pornhub appointment tonight. I'm good. I'm good money.
Lord have mercy. Help him. Somebody help.
You know what? You know the one good thing about not having any sexual prospects on the table, I can speak freely. I don't have to worry about anybody leveraging their vagina against my freedom of speech.
Hey, Jax, but let me ask you this. This is what I was thinking the other day. You're so deep into the sex industry through some of the projects that you're doing. And you know what I mean, it's a large amount of available women that's in some of these projects. You know what I mean? How much pressure is that on you to, you know what I mean, to sustain? You know what I mean? And I'm not gonna say I believe you, but I'm just gonna say, let's just say you ain't fucking. You know what I mean? Let's just say hypothetically, you really ain't. How much pressure is that? You know what I'm saying?
That's fucking hilarious. Nah, it's really honestly, it's really not any pressure because I think like for one, like I pride myself on like really just being professional, number one. You know what I mean? And I think in that industry, like they're very like they're very sensitive about consent, about potential like sexual assault, and if they feel disrespected and things of that nature. So like I don't even I'm here for a job and that's it. You know what I'm saying? Like I laugh and joke with people, with women and stuff like that, but like I'm not really I'm not really trying to get too involved with that. You know what I'm saying? To be perfectly honest. So it's really not a lot of pressure. Just because like and I kind of like honestly I kind of like where because you're a man, right? Like women have assumptions about just all niggas, like being the same, being all they want is sex, and they just want to fuck all the time, and all niggas flirt, and all niggas is gonna be trying to push up on you, and if just because you got on fucking underwear or some sexy shit, like niggas is gonna be staring and all that kind of shit, right? So like, if there's a pressure, it's really a pressure of like kind of like not paying attention to when they try to flirt with me and kind of get the vibe that that's not what I'm on. Because in a weird way, I think it makes me kind of like more attractive sometimes because like I'm not on the typical like nigga shit. I'm really just here to like get the work done. Let's get the shots. Let's get the footage, and I'm out of here. Like it was good doing business with you type shit. And sometimes that'll like some women have such enormous egos. Like they'll be like, what the fuck wrong with him? Like, what kind of nigga is this? Like, what kind of alien nigga is he ain't try to flirt, he ain't try to fuck, he ain't try to touch me, he ain't try to do nothing. Like, what's wrong with this nigga? Like, that's honestly like more the reactions that I kind of get sometimes. You know what I mean? And it's cool. Like I don't know if I should say this on a public platform, but like I respect I respect like sex work as work, but I don't think I couldn't date a sex worker like on no serious shit though. Like, and that's not like that's no disrespect to anybody that I've worked with or anybody that I will work with in the future. Like that's just a personal thing for me. Like I'm and if you want to, you know, and I'll even take the moniker of like insecure, right? Like I'm so secure in who I am, I know that I would be insecure about that. So that's what you if that's what you want to label it as opposed to me just having standards and boundaries, then you can say I'm too insecure to date a sex worker.
Look at Jax being modest.
I'm being serious. I'm being for real. Like that's just not my, you know, because I'm a big believer in your woman is like an extension of you, like a representation of you. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. And it's not to say that just because you do certain work you are a certain way, but I don't know. It's just something about it. I don't fuck with it like that. In my personal life, I don't fuck with it like that. We can't hear you. On mute.
I said, yeah, that's your, you know, that's we don't have to make, and that's interesting nowadays because you definitely want to, you know, always have respect for, you know, how people feel, and sometimes just, you know, expressing what your preferences are is not a knock or a diss to somebody else. So, you know what I mean? I think that was, you know, really clear, but you, of course, entitled to, you know, your preferences or, you know, whatever.
Yeah, that could be your soulmate though, Jax. You gotta be careful with that.
Right. It could be. It could be. And I'm willing to lose. I'm willing to lose. Like I'm willing. No, like I mean, it sounds funny, but like I don't know if y'all seen the movie Heat. Like you got to be willing to walk away from something. And, you know what I'm saying?
45 seconds. What do you say? 45 seconds or some shit?
Yeah, you gotta be
Yeah,
willing to walk away, man.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like
that's
that.
real.
I'm, I'm willing to lose. I don't believe that you only have one soulmate. I believe if soulmates is a thing, I think you have more than one.
Yeah.
I do, because just mathematically, like that don't even. Why would you only have one? What if she's the African? I never get a chance to go to Africa.
Wow.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like the odds
That's why. What if she a stripper? What if she a porn star? You can't.
that I'm gonna go to soulmate number two. I should have at least like 7. If the first 6 is strippers or fucking OnlyFans models, then on number 7 I might just have to be like, all right, well whatever she do, I would just rock with.
might be
Listen,
destined, player.
you never know. You never know. That's all I can say.
All right,
You
well
never know.
let's see. I see the queen yawning a little something. Let's give a closing.
I'm tired.
You know what I mean? Let's give a closing on today's topic. Jen, I know, man. I don't know what's going on with the live where we can't get that fourth person, and it's happening at the end. I was pissed. I know last week Jax had his microphone ready and all that shit, man.
I know, right?
The content you pumping out is good money, man. I can't wait for us to work with you, bro. So I'm looking forward to it. You know what I mean? So give us some closing statements.
No, have you updated the Instagram app? Maybe that might be the reason.
Oh yeah.
I normally upgrade my stuff, so I'm not sure what's going on. I have to figure it out once I get off.
Mm-hmm. All right, Jackson. Let's give us some closing statements on just the conversation at whole. It doesn't have to necessarily be the exact
I got you.
statement. You know what I mean?
Well, just to hit on the topic though, I do think that you should prioritize your significant other. I'm not gonna say that you'd have to do it every single day, but I'm also gonna say that it probably wouldn't hurt. You know what I'm saying? Probably help with consistency, or probably with sometimes being taken for granted isn't the worst thing, because it's symbolic of how consistent you actually are to somebody. Like someone can't take you for granted if you're not consistently doing amazing shit. Like that's really the only way somebody can take you for granted, because like, oh damn, well you always do this, so I just forgot to appreciate you. So like low key, they basically saying like, damn, like you always on point. You know what I mean?
Get it?
And just in terms of like I'll leave y'all with the past. Don't believe the lies that the past does not matter. Because if the past didn't matter, then credit wouldn't matter. If the past didn't matter, then medical history wouldn't matter. If the past ain't matter, your family tree wouldn't matter. Your ancestry wouldn't matter. You manifesting and talking about your ancestors and slavery, and if the past ain't matter, history would be obsolete, and we all know it's not. Because it's important for all of us to know our history. And why is that? Because the past fucking matters. Because if you don't know your history, these niggas is gonna hoodwink the fuck out of you again. That's the same thing with men or women. If you don't know their history, they're gonna hoodwink the fuck out of you again.
Yeah. That's a good point. All right, good stuff. I'm gonna say for my closing statement in terms of prioritizing, getting to the topic at hand, prioritizing your spouse is very important. Prioritizing your mate is very important. And also prioritizing yourself is very important too. So I would say make sure that in your daily plans, because it says prioritize your spouse daily. In your daily plans, make sure you have time for yourself, within that week, even if you have one day of self-reflection, because at the same time, you always want to stay connected to yourself, and you want to be the best version of yourself for yourself and others. So you definitely don't want to get lost. We had a viewer that came on today Casso, and he was speaking about how ultimately he prioritized someone and did so much for them that ultimately, like you said, Jax, he did it so consistently that they didn't appreciate it, and ultimately the relationship crumbled because it was a one-sided prioritization. So make sure in the process that you're prioritizing your mate on a regular, consistent basis. Make sure you also are pouring into your own cup as well, because you can only be a better person for others if you're being and doing what's best for yourself also. So that's what I'll say in closing. All right, Queen, what up? Talk to us. Close us out.
Um, I mean, as far as like, do you prioritize your spouse in a day to day? I definitely feel like it's important to do so. Both should come first before anything. Of course, besides yourself, of course, you're always supposed to prioritize yourself. But I feel like if you prioritize the most important things in your life, everything else will fall into play. And age versus experience. Again, I feel like it just all depends on the circumstances. You never know what you can learn from someone that's younger and older. So yeah.
All right. So talk to us. Last statements on our in person, what they need to do.
So I mean, if anybody missed this live, of course, the link is in our bio. Please go like, comment, and subscribe to the Davises and Friends YouTube channel. I'm really considering taking this to YouTube. YouTube is a tough cookie. You know about that,
It
Jack?
just it just
I
takes
don't
time.
know.
I mean,
I hear it's
I know
harder.
about it, but what you mean when you say know about it, like in terms of what
Like
exactly?
far as because I was thinking about even doing our live from YouTube, but a lot of people don't know that everybody has a subscription to YouTube, which is Google. A lot of people don't know that. And we all have Gmails, which is Google, and which is a part of YouTube. A lot of people don't know that. But people keep saying like you should take it to YouTube, you should go live YouTube, but it's like that audience, we don't have a big fan base on YouTube as we do on Instagram. So I'm just trying to figure that whole thing out. But if anybody missed this episode, please click the link in my bio, like, comment, and subscribe. All 50 episodes. I didn't even know we had that many. I had to go back and check, y'all. But this makes 51. No, 52 actually.
Oh, that means
We
that
have
we've done a year of one full year, because 52 weeks, what I mean, equates to a year. So that means we did one full year. Let's clap it up. You know
yeah.
what I
So
mean?
this is
Let's
our
clap it up. We
52
appreciate y'all.
episode
1 year of
of
going
been
live.
doing our podcast. And also like if anybody's interested in doing the next live in person, which will be March 22nd, I still need 2 women and 2 men. All you have to do is inbox me. Let me know if you're interested, and
I could defend my championship belt, man. If you
well, I mean, Jax, if you want to be on there, so then I will only need one more male, because I got two. We actually going to have the guys from Gentleman. What is it? A Gentleman to Pimp, something like that.
oh,
They got a
podcast.
podcast or
Oh, they coming
whatever.
through.
They wanted to be a part of the live in person on the 22nd. So it's 2 guys and 1 woman from that.
oh, okay,
Okay.
okay.
So yeah, Jax, of course,
I got I got to defend.
Let's
I got
get
to
it.
defend
Let's get it. Let's get it.
So yes, if anybody, like I said, please make sure you go on our YouTube channel, like, comment, subscribe, go back, watch all 52 episodes that we have. We are also on Apple podcast too, where you can download it and listen to it audio. I don't think all 52 are on there yet, but for the most part, I think all of the old ones are on there. And again, I post for the topics that anything you want to talk about. This is an open mic thing for the live in person, but for the Wednesday, anything you want to talk about, you put it in there. We vote. That's what we want to talk about. So I don't pick any of these topics. They all get picked from y'all. So if you in the comments, if you have something that you want to talk about and you feel like you want to put it out there, you gotta put it in the poll. Once you put it in there, I put it up there, let people vote, and we just go from there. I totally appreciate everybody coming on tonight. As always, Jax, you're the bomb.com. And I will see you guys next Wednesday, same time, 8 p.m.
Let's get it.
Deuces.
All right,
Deuces.
y'all. Have a
All
good
right,
one.
bro.
Bye.